Isaac Hayes III, and you're hanging out with GrownFolksMusic.com.
GrownFolksMusic.com.
Isaac Hayes III, thank you for
Yeah,
your time today. Welcome to GrownFolksMusic.com.
thank you for having me.
On January 18th, TVOne is doing a special music and the movement. You're a part of that. Talk about what that is and how you got involved and why you got
Man, my guy P. Frank Williams asked me to be a part of this, and the special has energy about the movement of social injustice or social justice issues, and how the soundtrack to those moments are Black music. And I was happy to be asked to talk about my father and his contribution, because the songs he wrote, like Soul Man and Soulsville for Shaft, really had a lot of energy and really resonated with people of that era, that time, and explained what Black people were going through during the struggle in the 60s and 70s. So it's great. It's a great contribution to be a part, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
What artists would you suggest to the grown folks today? What artists or what songs that you know of would you suggest to the grown folks today that are speaking to the movement or the social injustices or what's going on today?
I mean, hip hop primarily. So I would say Kendrick and Kendrick especially, and J. Cole have definitely, even more recently with Black Lives Matter. J. Cole himself have really started to really open up and share. I think the thing about hip hop is there was so much more social commentary in the music, in the 80s and the 90s, and I think somewhere we got absorbed with our own self, and really don't really talk about the things that really affect the community in a way. But it's a breath of fresh air when people like Kendrick, make statements in his performances or his videos or his lyrics. So I think, he's dropping an album this year, so I can't wait to hear more from Kendrick and J. Cole.
As you mentioned at the top of the interview, you talked about your father. For all the grown folks who don't know, you are Isaac Hayes' son, soul legend, icon. You have been managing his estate, his likeness, his masters, his brand, things of that nature. Did that from doing that, was that there a natural progression into fan base because you are already managing content and brands? Was that the natural next step? What led you to come up with fan base, and tell the grown folks what fan base is and what led you to come up with that?
I think every single job or every single career that I've built for myself over these last, 25 years. I mean, I've been doing voiceover for 17 years. So I understand about creating commercials and producing commercials and writing scripts. I make content, so I'm good with Premiere Pro and graphics and design. I'm a songwriter producer, so I understand about making music. So, and then managing a brand and someone like my father's brand, just being creative on social media and having a knack for marketing myself. I think all of those contributed to why I felt like Fanbase was something that I could do. I think the reason behind it is I see an enormous amount of creatives, especially African American Black creators, make content but don't get paid for it. And I think we're at this point right now that the Black community creates so much drive and energy and popularity to these platforms that we should be getting paid for what we do. And so to be able to allow people to monetize, which is done on other types of platforms now, which is so unusual because we tend to live in these silos, like only people that use Instagram, or only people that are on Patreon, or only people that are on TikTok, which is cool. But these other platforms, they're really not social networks that allow you, the ones that monetize are not really social networks that allow you to monetize your content. So the description of what Fanbase is Fanbase is a social network that allows any person to monetize their posts through subscription by having followers and subscribers simultaneously. So I can follow, 1,000 people, but if I'm a really big fan of a particular food photographer or an artist or a brand, I can subscribe to those exclusive pieces of content that they make for $3.99 a piece, and they're making money off that content, and I'm supporting them in that way. And I can also do the same thing myself and make content, because a lot of people, I think evolve into content creators, discover the fact they have a knack for being funny or fit or fashionable. And so then you're able to monetize your audience from day one and build that, rather than having to build this massive following, then turn around and try to secure deals. Because there are people on social media with millions of followers, and some people are in the right deals and other people aren't. And a lot of times, if you're not in the right position at the right time, you have this massive following, but you're still not monetizing it. I know a lot of struggling influencers that have millions of followers, but they're not making any money. And so I want to give people the opportunity to make money from day one.
How do you think you'll be able to adjust the mindset of users, because we're so used to listening to music for free and things of that nature? How do you plan on adjusting the mindset?
Two ways. I don't think you adjust a person's mindset. For one, I think that there's no amount of innovation that current platforms can do to capture the youth. So Fanbase is really a platform that's going to be primarily directed towards the youth, because kids want to be on apps that their parents are not on. Like, full confession, when my mom got on Facebook, I left. I'm on Instagram. My little brother's not on Instagram because I'm on Instagram. He's on TikTok and he's on Twitch, and he plays games on Twitch and talks to his friends. So he has his own community. So those spaces and places where kids are going to migrate to are going to be separate from the established platforms already. Now, when you come to monetization, I think the very nature of someone being successful on Fanbase will propagate it to other users. So if there's a person that says, "Oh my God, I'm making $5,000 a month on this app called Fanbase," people are gonna be like, "Where's that at?" Because I'm on Instagram and I'm not making nothing.
Mhm.
And you only have 1 million followers. I have 7 million followers. So I need to take my audience over there and do what you're doing and monetize the content that way. So people will, by one, other people being successful on Fanbase will bring other people over. And then two, simply the youth having a space and a place that is just different from all the other spaces and places that their parents and their older brothers and sisters occupy, that they can be themselves.
How did you develop your team for Fanbase?
I was lucky. I was very, very lucky. My attorney introduced me to some great um, coders and developers, and we just had a synergy, and we were allowed to build this thing. I mean, this is the platform that I bootstrapped all the way up until we got to raise money. And I think, timing is everything, and I think it clicked. And I mean, that's not for everybody, but also I had to know what I wanted to build, and if the people that said they could do the things that they could do, and then enact my vision, could do it, and it worked out perfectly. So I'm happy to have my CTO and his team actually be part of the company, but also own part of the company as well.
Speaking of raising money, you've raised a tremendous amount of it. Um, my question is twofold. One, are there still opportunities to invest? And two, what were the challenges in being a Black creator founder? Were there any challenges when it came time to raise money?
Um, yes, you can still invest, um, but I'll get back to that. And here's why. Initially, I think timing again is everything. I had made the decision that in 2020 I was going to seek capital for my company, and COVID hit and halted all my plans. And three wonderful, phenomenal Black women at different stages suggested that I use this platform called Start Engine and crowd from the general public. And they taught me about this thing called Reg CF, right? And the Jobs Act. And so Monique Idolette, Dawn Dixon, and Angela Benton, who Dawn and Angela both had raised $1 million on Start Engine. Dawn coached me on this process. Angela made the introduction to Start Engine so I could pitch myself, because you have to be accepted, and they like what like what I built, and I got accepted to the program. And so we launched our campaign in November of 2020. And in a month, about 3 weeks, we raised about $2.3 million. To now, up till now, we have about 2.6 million. We raised about $2.6 million. So that first million was my initial goal. We've raised another 1.6 that's been waitlisted. And so anyone can still invest in the platform. You go to startengine.com/fanbase and you join the waitlist. The reason why there is a waitlist is because in November, the day after I launched my raise, the SEC upped the regulation that I could raise from 1 million to 5 million for everybody. So they changed the regulation that now in a Reg CF raise, which is that first seed round raise that you can do, they raise it from 1 million to $5 million, but the law doesn't take effect until 60 days or so after they announce the new legislation. So maybe about a week from now or 2 weeks from now, the law will take effect and I'll be able to accept that extra waitlisted money. But I'm going to stop probably at about $3 million. So there's probably about $400,000 more worth of investment available. And I'm going to stop the raise at that point.
What is the biggest lesson you've learned since you have started or created Fanbase?
That there's so much to do in the space for Black people, right? There's so much to do in this space for African American people in tech because we are a marginalized group of individuals that we're trying to beat down doors and find access to capital. And this route has really allowed me to raise more capital and give up less equity in my company and protect myself in ways that other people that seek, standard venture capital are not able to. So I've learned that there's so much more to do and there's a different way to do it. And now we can. So I'm excited about, raising my money this way and allowing over 4,000 people, mostly Black people, to invest in a seed stage startup company. So this has to win. If this wins, you're talking about thousands and thousands of Black people turning into millionaires and multimillionaires through an early stage investment when the minimum to invest is only $256 in Fanbase. So that's it. But imagine putting $256 or $500 into a startup and a few years from now getting a check for $750,000, 1.5 million, stuff like that. So that's my goal.
What is your definition of grown folks music?
I think mature. I think whether in social commentary or explicit language or the maturity and the way that it's constructed, the vibe, the energy, the maturity of it. I think that's what grown folks music is. And there's some artists that, I'm telling you right now, Jasmine Sullivan just put out some grown folks music with this new album she put out. There's a couple
It's
songs.
real and raw.
Oh my God, it's so real and raw. But that's some grown folks music. That is the Jasmine Sullivan's album is the definition of grown folks music right there. If you want a definition, textbook definition, her new album is the textbook definition of grown folks music.
This is a part of the interview when you get to shout it out. What that means is that you get to tell us all things about you and what you're doing, and or in this case, Fanbase, everything about it, when we might see it. You spoke about the investment opportunities earlier, just what it is, your website, your social media platforms, all things Isaac Hayes III and Fanbase. Go.
Cool. Well, for Fanbase in 2021, we are building Android. Android will be available in February, early February. We have some great new functionality, including drop-in audio chat. If anybody's familiar with Clubhouse, it's drop-in audio chat. We are adding that functionality to Fanbase with monetization too. So you'll be able to monetize these conversations if you want to, or just have regular conversations with your friends. But if you have a value or want to put together some really interesting panels that monetize and make money, you'll be able to do that too on Fanbase. Also, like I said, you can still invest. Go to startengine.com/fanbase, join the wait list. The minimum to invest is $256. You'll grab some shares and you will own part of this platform. And download the app. It's available on the Apple App Store now. I got accepted to the Apple Small Business Program, which is amazing. And we have a lot of big things in store. And then personally, you can follow me on all social media platforms, mainly LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. They're all Isaac Hayes 3 at ISAAC HAYES 3. And that's where I'm at.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. We know you've been following us and we've been following you. So
Yep.
we appreciate that very much.
Thank
All the
you.
best to you with Fanbase.
Thank you.
And till next time.
Till next time. Thanks a lot.
grownfolksmusic.com